we had the old grade systems back then. So I was a grade 3 referee, which is the lowest that you could be. I went straight to Premier League in Victoria within 3 years, which was unheard of. Make it clear, you don't just get given a World Cup. They don't just say, oh, yes, we will choose you. You need to earn it. I answered, and it was Ben Williams, who was the central referee, and he said to me, Harks, what are you doing in June, July?
You mentioned pressures, challenges a referee faces. You've been in that position. A lot of people would want to know how is it being in the shoes? You've got a stadium full of 80,000 people. You've got millions of people watching at home at the World Cup.
I tell you, when you first start, obviously, all referees, when they start to the end of their career, your Kalinas, your Junior Chuckers, when they first started refereeing to when they finished, it's completely different. You learn from experience. This is a common catch cry at FIFA. So we learn from our mistakes. We understand, okay, well, why did I make them? I used to come off the ground and say to myself, and we used to get paid for it. And I always had a motto that when I receive my payment, I want to make sure that I did everything I could to earn that. I don't want to sit there and just run in the middle and, in the center circle and not earn my money. So I try to give everything. And with everything, I mean developing, learning from my mistakes, dealing with pressures. I'll give you a story. Like I said, when you first start to when you finish, there's miles between it. And one of the things that we did is during our journey to the World Cup, we were very, very professional with that. We as soon as the match finished, we had a strict recovery schedule. So we made sure I cut out all alcohol before that. So from 2012, I've been dry because I was very, very serious about refereeing, and I still don't drink alcohol to this time because alcohol inhibits. It's a diuretic, so it inhibits your recovery. But one of the things that we did was we engaged a dietitian, but also more importantly a sports psychologist, and they gave us strategies how to deal with. Imagine you're in the 5th minute of the game, and a goal that's been scored, offside goal, and I'm the assistant. What do? I've got 85 minutes left to go. So she was really, really good. She was a girl that we hired from, and she was actually an AFL sports psychologist. So we were lucky to have her on board. Her name was Ali, and she gave us some strategies to be able to deal with those, which was fantastic. Relaxing. Match preparation, we changed all that. Like we had a routine, 15 minutes before the game, after we come back into the dressing room, we were all focused. We needed to focus, we needed to visualize situations. So when it happened, we were ready. Hopefully that would reduce the mistakes that happened. But if they did happen, what did we do? So we were a pretty close trio. One of the things that we always looked at, and we always used to say, and I still say this to the referees, it's not, Juventus is playing Inter Milan or Real Madrid is playing Barcelona. It's white against red, black against white, or blue against red. It's just two teams. You take the names out of it. And we refereed at the Olympics. We were at the 2012 Olympics, and we had some of the best players there. And it wasn't about Hazard or anyone else. It was simply two teams. We need to go out and do a job. Okay, we made mistakes, yes. But the one thing that we learned from the sports psychologist was you can't change the past. You can't change the past, but I can change the future. So this is where we need to focus. We need to focus. We forget. We can't change it. If we dwell on it, we let our mind get consumed with the previous decision. We can't change that. What's important is the next decision. So this is where the concentration comes in, the focus, communication, all of that, and then hopefully we finish the game on a high and with as minimal mistakes as we could.
Strong words there, some good advice. And in terms of advice, I guess this sort of relates to my question now, Hakan Anaz. In terms of young referees or potential referees out there who may be thinking, like how you were before those under 8, under 9 matches, if they wanted to officiate football matches in the future, what would be your sort of key words of advice to them be in terms of starting, at least from an Australian perspective? You know, you have your Jared Gillets now at the EPL. You have your women officials as well, like Kate Yazowitz. So what would you say in terms of being the future Jareds and Kates of the world?
I always said, look, the best advice I got when I was a starting referee was from a guy who said to me, Hakan, you get out of this occupation, out of refereeing, what you put in. And that was the first time it really, and it's the same with any job that you do. But that was something that always stood in my mind. I needed to put in, if I wanted to be successful, I needed to put into this. And I remember speaking to another referee, and our routine was quite simple. You know, we had trainings on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 6 to 7. Tuesdays was at Mooney Ponds. Thursdays was at Faulkner. So we'd come at 6 and 7. So we'd start. And a friend of mine said, why do you train for only 1 hour, Hakan? He was a referee as well. And he said, how long does the game go for? It goes for 90 minutes. So you guys come out, you do your warm-up, you do your stretches, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you do some intense running, you do your warm-down. You've probably done 20 minutes of running. He goes, do you think that's enough? I said, well, no, it's not. So I remember, and all the referees would know this, I was the first one there. I was there at 5:15, 5:20. So I would do my own training for 45 minutes. The other guys would come, I'd join with them. So I would do an hour 45, an hour 40. And this is like, physical is one, but also laws of the game is another. You need to know the laws of the game. I would read the laws of the game. I actually took a lot of the refresher courses down here in Victoria. So you need to, as a referee must know the laws of the game. If you don't know the laws of the game, you're in big problems. So you need to know, something happens, what does the law book say? And you can't sit there with the law book out on the field looking for the answer. You've got to know it. So I made sure I knew the laws of the game. And if I didn't know, I would research it, ask questions. I was always asking questions. So one is fitness, laws of the game is another. The other thing is you need to persevere. Okay, as if you want to be successful in this sport, you know, I had some downs, but I got up, and I always said I was not going to let anything get in my way. I was going to give it 1,000%. And it was funny because when the decision came in January 2014 about the World Cup, all of my colleagues said, Hakan, you deserve to go there. You know why? Because you worked very, very, very hard. You were the first one here to come to training. You knew the laws of the game. You know, you always set a professional standard and always have a mentor. I was lucky enough to have a couple of really, really good mentors So if any young referee wants to, or young person wants to become a referee, that's my advice. Work hard, train hard, be physically fit, know the laws of the game, and make sure you have a mentor. Ask questions, because I always used to say, well, this happened to me, especially early on in my career, and I would ask, did I make the right decision? I would often query that, and then I'd go through with my mentor, who I was lucky enough to work with at the tax office. So I would speak to him on a Monday and say, this is what happened to me. And he said, yes, this is what you needed to do. Correct, 100%. And then that's in the memory bank. But then you always have situations, even now as an instructor, we have some situations that are, you never ever think about it. And you go through a process, you analyze, you ask questions, and then you come to the answer. But let me tell you, if someone said to me when I first started refereeing that I would go to the World Cup, I would think they were crazy. Now I ask myself, why can't any other young boy or girl from Australia, why can't they go? Absolutely they can. You can do anything you want as long as you put the effort in. It's the same thing with if you want to be a lawyer or a dentist or a civil engineer or anything. You put the effort in, more chances than not you're gonna succeed. And people will tell you you won't make it. You're not going to make it. You need to get up. You need to work harder. A classic example of that was, in 2002, I was nominated for my FIFA badge. And unfortunately, politics got in the way, and I was not happy. But I said to my coach at the time, what do I need to do? And they said to me, you don't need to do anything. But I worked harder. So the next time around, when there was a vacancy, I made the decision easy for them. They said, it's Harks. Hakan's going to get the badge. And that was my ticket into FIFA, ticket into AFC Elite, which then opened the doors for me. So with anyone who loves this sport, consider refereeing. You get to an age where you say to yourself, that's it, I've finished as a player. My philosophy was whether it's a player, as a coach, or as a referee, I want to do something to the best level. And I realised that I wasn't going to make it as a player. I played up until about State 1 seniors. I wasn't going to make it to National League, the old NSL. I was too old for that. They want 16, 17, 18-year-olds. So I decided to become a referee. And look at the doors it's opened for me. I now travel. I'm traveling 2 or 3 weeks a month. I do a lot of travel. I meet a lot of people, a lot of opportunities. It's fantastic. And, if anyone wants to consider it, consider refereeing, absolutely, I would support them 100%. Even for an Australian to be on the AFC FIFA instructors panel. I'm one of the 4 experts. So we're responsible. I'm one of the 4 guys who can do VAR coaching in Asia. So we have a lot of requests, even a lot of job offers. I've been offered jobs overseas. Had a couple of job offers. I just turned one down in Asia as the head of referees. How great is it that we can have an Australian representing AFC, but also a Turkish Australian as one of the 4 experts, who's doing really an honour in representing our people at FIFA and AFC. It's I pinch myself all the time.
Yeah, and just listening to all of that, a lot of new young referees can take a lot from your experiences from the World Cup. We're going to look for a couple of quick fire questions your way.
Sure.
Question number 1 from myself is going to be, tell us your favorite referee from either Turkey Australia, or anywhere in the world? It could be past or present.
Well, one of my favourite referees was Pierluigi Collina. He changed the way referees are now officiating the game. He was a pure professional. You know, this is a guy who would analyse the teams, and we actually did this as well prior to the 2014 World Cup. We analysed all the teams, the Australian trio. So we knew we needed to be ready to, in case we officiated any of the teams. And Pierluigi Collina has, as a referee, he's changed the facets of refereeing. And now as the chairman of the FIFA Referees Committee, he's also improved refereeing. He's put his flavour onto it. Everyone follows. And for me, he's an absolute inspiration. I also look at Junaid as well. You know, he's a fantastic referee who flies the Turkish flag every time he goes overseas, and he's done us extremely proud. So I think you know, those guys are always good value. And having them as your role models is you know, they're two of the best names going around.
The quick fire question I had, Hakan Anaz, was what was the weirdest, funniest, most random moment you've ever had on the field as a referee, whether it be grassroots, junior, senior?
I think it was down in Kensington, Flemington Way, and the guy, it was a windy day, and what happened was the guy took a throw in. It was an attacker who took a throw in. And it was a long throw, and the goalkeeper comes out, and you know, in amateur league, you know, the players have got two left legs, and the goalkeepers you know, are probably not the best, and you might get some games finishing 10-0, 12-0, and the goalkeeper comes running out, tries to get the ball. Unfortunately, he mistimes, the ball bounces in front of him, goes over his head, and goes into goal. And the thrower, we just scored a goal, fantastic. He's celebrating, and I'm there giving a goal kick. And the other team, even the goalkeeper's going, oh, what have I done? And I've given a goal kick, and I've said to the players, guys, you can't score from a throw-in. Oh, really? Yeah,
that's right.
Luckily, it was the right decision. But I tell you, if I'd given the goal, I don't think anyone would have argued anything. Those guys don't know the law. You could give anything, and they'd agree with it. But it was a weird situation to be involved in. Yeah, for sure.
What an enjoyable program that was with Hakan Anaz, the former international referee, current AFC and FIFA mentor, instructor, assessor. He's a world of knowledge, and it was a pleasure having him on the show. Hakan Anaz, thank you once again for being on.
Thank you for having me, guys. Thank you.
Delighted.
And Brooks, thank you for teaming up with me as well.
No worries at all. Again, thank you for making time. You know, you've got a busy schedule, you're traveling a lot, and giving us this opportunity.
No problems. Hope to see you in the future again. Maybe we'll get some funny videos and match analysis, and
absolutely, we
can look at these. Look forward to it, and maybe even having some of our viewers, you know, realise, you know, how we look at incidents, because it's actually quite interesting, you know, when we analyse situations from a FIFA and an AFC point of view. It's quite interesting.
So I think you've given away a little bit of a hint there. Stay tuned on that. And again, thank you for having us.
Thanks, guys.